So the first video I decided to research was the script, The Man Who Can't Be Moved. I chose this simply because it's the same genre as mine, indie pop or just pop band, and also it has a male protagonist, which is the idea for my video. And the video is about how there's a man and he's chasing after the woman he loves. And although my video is not kind of romantic, it's got the same idea of the male protagonist talking about his problems in a sense. So where in the script video, his problem is the girl and how he wants her to love him, but in my video it's the same as I have my protagonist talking about how fame affects him. So even though it's different ideas, it's still kind of the same premise. What I like about the video is how it focuses on him throughout the whole video. So the camera shots are always facing him, so it's always in third person, so you've got an idea of his facial expressions and how he's feeling to do body language, which is something I'm looking to emphasise in my video, because I feel the key in my video will be you'll be able to understand how my character's feeling by the look on his face and the way he walks and the way he's talking and the way his body is moving. The one thing I did dislike about the video, however, is that they left it on a cliffhanger. Whereas in my video, for example, my protagonist has a problem about how he perceives fame, and then by the end of it, he gets it, he understands it. Whereas in the script video that I researched, it kind of continues into after the video is finished. So we don't get to find out whether he finds the love of his life, whether she comes back to him, whether they find each other. So I almost feel like it left on a bit of a cliffhanger, which is not something a music video should do, because not only should you understand the narrative, but you should also finish the video knowing what happens and knowing that it either ends bad or ends good. Whereas this kind of feels like there could be a sequel. As far as the performance goes, I'm definitely taking some inspiration from it, because my video is going to be of my protagonist miming, so it's going to be performance well as narrative, and in the script Man Who Can't Be Moved, they merged narrative and performance very well together. The next one I did was by Ellie Goulding. It's called The Writer. The one thing I liked about that video is the very unique camera angles used. Up to this point I wasn't really focused on my camera shots, I was more focused on the narrative and the performance. But by watching Ellie Goulding's The Writer, I realised that the way the camera was used in the video told the narrative much better than if the camera shots were just average. Like for example, there's a shot of where from behind her, it's an over the shoulder shot, but you can see the wonderful backdrop in the sunset, and it kind of it gives you a sense of how they're feeling more than if it was just her face or just a mid shot or a long shot. So after I watched that video, I now realise that I need to take a bigger emphasis on my camera shots, whereas before I was focusing on the narrative and the performance. Whereas now I really realised that the camera shots can do so much more for it's encouraged me to be more adventurous with my locations, because obviously in Ellie Goulding's The Writer, the location is very rural and it looks very, very beautiful. Obviously I won't be able to get a very rural location as due to where I live. However, I need to be more adventurous, because my original plan for filming was to film some bit in my house and then film more of it maybe in my local area. But now I realise I've changed my mind, and I think I'll be filming most of it out of London now, because London's not the most rural place. However, it's got better scenery, it's got better backdrops than it would if I was just in my bathroom or in my local area. So overall, Ellie Goulding's The Writer has kind of encouraged me to be more adventurous with my location and my camera shots. Although it's not my genre, I feel like after watching it, I now realise that if I was more out there, it will help me tell the narrative in a lot more artistic way. So the third video I decided to do was Bruno Mars, It Will Rain. Now this one was a lot different to the two I've previously talked about, as it uses a lot of imagery and hidden meanings. For example, in Bruno Mars, It Will Rain, there's him in an empty room with just water dripping into a bucket, but that could kind of be telling us something about how he's feeling, maybe the emptiness of the bucket, the water, his tears. So I think because Bruno Mars is quite, some of his songs are quite deep and quite emotional, in this, by using the imagery, not only does it show us how he's feeling, but it's better than showing him crying or being sad in his face, because it's better to use the things around him, which is a lot more artistic and a lot more adventurous. Again, this video mixes the narrative and the performance elements together, and although I was going to stick to just narrative and letting my character express his feelings through his emotions, after doing a class poll on my blog, I found out that a lot of people do like elements of both in a video, so narrative and performance. So that has kind of influenced me to maybe change my plan of just doing narrative and add a bit of performance, because then the performance can kind of mix with the narrative and it gives a better sense of how they're feeling. So for example, in Bruno Mars, you see him sad with his girlfriend, but then a couple of minutes later he's on the piano and you can see the emotion in the way he's playing. So I think for my video, I will go narrative and performance, because these three videos have shown me how much it can impact the way it makes, well, the viewer feel. Right, so the fourth video I looked at was Arctic Monkeys, and it's called One for the Road. Now this video is very different to the ones I've looked at before, and very different to what I'm going to do for my video. And that's because it's the first video that I looked at that had a different kind of editing technique. And what I mean by that is it was black and white, the whole video. Also, it was different to all the videos I've looked at, because it again used symbolism like Bruno Mars's "It Will Rain," but in a very kind of obvious way, whereas Bruno Mars is not as obvious. What I mean by that is the whole video is a man on a tractor going down a long road, sort of on a journey almost. But then, if you think about it more, and with the music and the black and white film, you can kind of see that the journey is not just a literal journey, it's a journey inside of himself, which I think is really clever. And although I don't think a journey or like a deep undertone would suit my video, I think for the indie genre in general, I think that's a good thing to do, because it does again show us how they're feeling, not just by looking at their face or looking at their body. Again, like the rest of the videos, it mixes the narrative and the performance together, and it's been hard to find a video with just narrative, because in most videos these days, maybe the whole video will be narrative. Like for example, Taylor Swift's Love Story is about the classic Romeo and Juliet kind of thing, but then the whole video is about the love story and how basically like Romeo and Juliet, but then right at the end she starts performing, she starts playing the piano. So it's really hard to find a video with just narrative, because in most narrative videos there will be just a slight addition of performance, and that happens in every video, and this is no different. Arctic Monkeys, the whole video is a narrative, of him on the journey down the road, but then right at the end there's an epic, about 20-second Arctic Monkeys, Alex Turner playing the guitar, in an abandoned, field somewhere. As I was saying in the previous songs, I feel like doing just a narrative video wouldn't fit in with the conventions of indie pop, because in most indie pop videos I've watched, and Arctic Monkeys is no different, there's always an element of performance. So I think the Arctic Monkeys just again has reaffirmed my view that I need to add some performance to my before only narrative video. The last song I decided to look at was something that they used to know by Gotye, and this video is completely different to any video I've ever seen before. And that's because it's very artistic. If you haven't seen it, it's a woman and a man, they're kind of arguing, but it's the way the woman is against the wall and so is he, but she's kind of leaving her boundaries. I feel like she can't move because that's her boundaries, that she's leaving her boundaries for him. I think it's really artistic, also very different to any indie pop video I've ever seen, because most indie pop videos, like Arctic Monkeys, is kind of, they will have a meaning behind them, but I don't think Arctic Monkeys, or I don't think Scattered for Girls, or I don't think the Smiths even, their videos, I don't think they were artistic, whereas this video that become an online sensation, just simply because it's different, it's artsy, and you can really see on the people in the video's faces that the expression that they make is real, which I think is quite remarkable for a music video of this day and age, where most videos are of a girl provocatively dancing, or a man chasing a woman. To see this in an indie pop video as it was really inspired me to make my video completely different to anything anyone would ever have seen before. But although my video is not going to be as, you know, as produced or as artistic as that, because that's not how I think. However, it did inspire me to definitely make my video more different and try and do something that not many people would have seen or even heard of before.